the addition the addition of oxygen the addition of oxygen to a given element, atom of element, the addition of oxygen and the removal of hydrogen, the addition of oxygen and the removal of hydrogen is oxidation. So now look at this is vice versa. Let me put this way. Now, the first situation that brings about redox, reduction oxidation, is simply this. Whenever there's an addition of oxygen to a given element, addition of oxygen and the removal of hydrogen also, these two things take place simultaneously, sometimes. So whenever you have oxygen added to a given element, atom of element, we call that oxidation. While whenever we have removal of hydrogen from a given compound, we also call it oxidation. That means if the opposite takes place, that means if oxygen is being removed from a given compound, it means we have what we call reduction. Why, when hydrogen is added to a given compound, we have what we call reduction also. So let's look at, we have an example like this. Don't forget the addition of oxygen and the removal of hydrogen is what we call oxidation, while the removal of oxygen and the addition of hydrogen is what we call reduction. So let's look at this. Let's say we have calcium, which is a solid, plus oxygen, which is a gas. When they both combine together, we have calcium oxide, which is another solid. Now we're going to balance this very equation first. Calcium plus oxygen is equal to calcium oxide. So what do we have? We're going to add to these two atoms of oxygen. In our previous lesson, we worked on how to balance non-redox reaction. So these two atoms of oxygen react to this place. That becomes 2. Calcium also reacted to this place to make the calcium become 2. So what do we observe here? When we look at this very calcium, there's a reactant, there's a product. But like on the reactant end, we have just ordinary calcium. After the calcium combines with oxygen, we end up with calcium oxide. So what do you observe here? You find out that the calcium here on the reactant, on the product end, has oxygen added to it. So it means we have an oxidation. Whenever oxygen is added to a given atom of an element or even to a given compound, we call it oxidation. So this very calcium became oxidized. Why, when you look at the oxygen here, we have two atoms of oxygen. Why on the product end, the number of oxygen reduced from 2 atoms to 1 atom of oxygen. So oxygen here experienced a form of reduction. There's a reduction in oxygen quantity. So don't forget, when we talk about redox, we are talking about two things happening at the same time.